Hi, everyone. I am Yolanda Harper. I am here with Jennifer Schaap today.
Hi.
We are coming to you live from our offices here at Harper Therapy in the Tampa Bay area in Lutz.
Yeah.
And it's a great Tuesday. And we have a really interesting conversation today about this idea of quarter-life crisis for millennials, right?
Yeah.
So kind of let's set the stage, right? We've talked before about millennials. We talked before about just how a lot of times millennials get a bad rap.
Yeah, we do get a bad rap.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we want to set the record straight. Each generation has its own pluses, negatives, its own quirks, its own tendencies. So millennials are unique in that I think it has been kind of the first generation that said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This way that you all have been trying to do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not signing up for that.
Yeah, we want to do it differently.
We're going to do it differently, right? And so whereas previous generations like Generation XY,
yeah,
Z,
baby boomers,
right? My generation, this has been delayed to later times in life.
Yeah.
It still happens for each of us that we kind of pause and say, who exactly am I? We were kind of talking about this before we came on live and how, at some point, each of us, Shaman and I, have said, wait a minute, who am I, right? We just kind of plugged along on the path that is set before us.
Yeah.
But it's different.
I think it definitely is different.
Yeah.
I think that we are going through our quarter-life crisis.
Yeah.
I think that our 20s is really our time of, identity.
Yeah, it's like 26 is the new 18, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, technically the identity formation is the teenage years, but I think that's a lot of pressure as a millennial.
Well, that's kind of old school, right?
Yeah.
You're talking to Eric Erickson, who is like a founding father of psychology and development and all of that kind of stuff, and he kind of mapped that out, right?
Yeah, and
right.
His theory is that by 18 you should know your morals, what you want to do,
know everything about yourself.
Yeah, including career.
Right.
And I think in our 20s we are taking a step back and being like, wait, we want to explore what we want to do as career, because to me 18 seems very young to pick a career for the rest of your life.
It is.
And so that kind of liads into some of the points I wanted to discuss about our identity or midlife
quarter-life crisis.
Quarter-life crisis.
Yeah, and how that impacts our relationships.
Yeah, so career-wise, I think we are kind of taking our time to figure out what we want to do career-wise. We are really taking time to build our career. Some of us really don't want to form serious relationships until we feel like we are stable in our career, which is a little bit different than I think previous generations have done.
Where they were building both at the same time, or did the marriage and then built the career.
And I think that comes with this quarter life crisis of figuring out who we are.
Yeah.
Since we don't necessarily know who we are right now, we are taking longer to figure out who we want to be career-wise. So with that, in terms of relationships, that means that there's people at different stages of what they want to be in a relationship.
And the self-exploration, different stages of the self-exploration and where they are wanting their relationships to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So some people are going into it thinking okay, I want to go in for I'm dating for marriage. I want something to be serious. And some people are going in being no, I just want something casual right now.
Yeah. I'm still exploring who I am in relationships, what I want out of a relationship, all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So in terms of that, everything comes back to communication, but this is where communication is really important to be genuine and express this is what I want at this moment, so that there's no confusion and that there's not this way where you both are just going down this path and there's two different paths.
Right. And you don't realize that until everything kind of comes to a head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that is something that millennials are facing, and I think that is kind of a unique challenge, which can be very frustrating in terms of dating.
Yeah, and it's super vulnerable when you're having those conversations in a dating kind of relationship. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Another point I want to make is that with this identity, quarter life crisis, we're really exploring who we are, getting a better sense of who we are. Yeah. And with that, if we are in relationships, it's important that we communicate so that we can grow together. Because sometimes I'm noticing that people are really forming their morals, their identity, their values, and in relationships, they're growing apart.
Yeah, I think that, and we were talking about this too, I think in any long-term relationship that has the tendency to happen, but especially as millennials are coming together, when there's a lot of that self-exploration and growth happening anyway, to be open in the communication. I know Shaman and I have gone through that at different stages for each of us at different points in our relationship. And it is a conscious kind of let's come together and talk this through, so it doesn't feel like, oh, we've outgrown each other or anything like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It doesn't have to be like a end all, and that's exactly where couples therapy can come in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's actually a huge positive about our generation.
Yeah.
Is with this self-exploration, we are getting more and more open to the concept of therapy.
Yeah, I love that, yeah.
And like, I think with that, like, we bring like sometimes a greater psychological intelligence or knowledge, because like we're going to therapy to figure out ourselves, to figure out like kind of who am I as a person, what are some aspects I bring into a relationship. And so I noticed that people are a lot more open to individual counseling, couples counseling. I noticed that like there used to be more of like a stigma associated with counseling, and like I think it's so amazing that that is disappearing, and that's across all generations.
But I think that in a lot of ways the millennial generation has kind of helped set the tone for that, for destigmatizing and just normalizing, like this is what I do. You know, this is just a normal part of life and self-exploration and growth and all of those things. You don't have to be in crisis to be in therapy, and in a lot of ways therapy is even more effective when you're not in crisis when you get started. I feel like that's where most of our work can happen, is when we're not in crisis, because we're not, as I call it, like putting out fires. We can really get into like the nitty-gritty of things. Absolutely. Yeah. So lots of ways that quarter life crisis impacts our relationships for millennials, and really it comes down to communication. Right? It comes down to like knowing yourself, being comfortable with who you are, and communicating. So guess who's awesome at helping couples improve communication?
Yes. I have said, if you're millennial, if you're a Generation X, if you're any generation, I'd love to see you as a couple. But if you're a millennial in a relationship, I can relate being a millennial who is married.
Knows the unique challenges and benefits of being a millennial in a relationship, because it's definitely not all bad, obviously, right?
I think we have a lot of good points to us.
Totally. So if you would like some help with your relationship, give Harper Therapy a call, 813-434-3639. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.